Hey guys, it's Brittany. So, today's going to be a movie review, and today I'll be reviewing Terrifier 3. And yes, I have watched it recently. I would say I would say like towards like the end of Halloween and the morning of November 1st. So yeah, I was up watching it around that time. And honestly, oh my gosh, this one is just uh wow, it's I feel like this one shows a lot. And this one is just graphic, of course, like, gory and grotesque and brutal, like very, very brutal. And the scenes, now the scenes that I've seen in this one, oh, I, oh, again, I felt this horrible pain in my stomach, and I felt like, I just felt like everything inside was just turning inside out, and oh, it was just horrible. And honestly, uh, on one hand, I was afraid of what um, what would happen and everything. And there's some things I feel like, okay, they shouldn't have done that, or this shouldn't happen, because I feel like some things just went too far. Okay, someone explained this, and I think this is the best way to describe Terrifier 3. Okay, you know the bedroom scene in Terrifier 2? Well, it's like that of Terrifier 3, where you get this very um, graphic, gory, brutal scene. So that bedroom scene in Terrifier 2 is how Terrifier 3 is, where you're gonna see things that are gonna make you squirm and just feel very sick, very unsettled, and even terrified. So that's how I was feeling. And honestly, because I was so not only grossed out, but I was so terrified, and I couldn't handle to see what was going on, and even to hear it, I just felt like I was so scared that my eyes were just tearing up. Okay, well, what? And honestly, I also had a can of Coca-Cola with me, only because I felt like, you know how when you're so scared, you're so terrified that I think your adrenaline goes up, and you're hyperventilating, and so it's like you need something. I would say especially caffeine to calm the nerves. So that's how I felt. I felt like my adrenaline was up. I was just so scared out of my mind. My heart was racing, and my mind, like mentally, my mind was just going everywhere. So I couldn't like handle what was going on. It was just so much, too much. And also, I gotta say, the opening scene was even talking about it, it's making me choked up. But there's a reason for that, because at the opening scene, when when Arthur Clown breaks into this house, there's a family that lives there, and he's dressed as Santa Claus, and he he goes into one of the bedrooms, and in this bedroom there was this, boy sleeping in his bed. And so I think when Art walked into the room, he thought it was his sister, but it wasn't. So when he saw that it was Art, now that part doesn't show how Art kills this boy, but you hear it though. You hear it, and honestly, I hated that. And honestly, I believe, now that to me, to I would say, whether if it's a horror movie or not, but when a character kills a child in a movie, that's just going too far. Too far. And I know I could vent on that because I have my reasons to why I hate that. Because, okay, let me just say this real quick. For one, that's something that happens already in real life, which is beyond horrible enough. And so knowing that that does happen, it makes me angry that that happens. And so to even see in the movie, even though it's fake, it's like, no, no, that's just crossing the line for me. So yeah, I was mad at that, but they did show, like how the mother found her son in the room, and he was, I don't want to say it, but you get the picture. So now I didn't even look at that. I think I saw only a little bit in the corner of my eye, but I just turned my head because I did not want to see that. Because that's just something that really makes me sad, but also so angry knowing that that thing happens, So I know I'm getting a bit off topic, I'm sorry, but that's just something I hated at the beginning of the movie. I was afraid of that, and it happened in the movie, so I'm like, oh, ugh. Okay, so Terrifier 3. Okay, so now I'm gonna read to you the description of the movie. After surviving Art the Clown's Halloween massacre, Sienna and her brother struggle to rebuild their shattered lives. As the holiday season approaches, they try to embrace the Christmas spirit and leave the horrors of the past behind. However, just when they think they're safe, Art returns, determined to turn their holiday cheer into a new nightmare. And that's what he did. Yeah, that's what Art the Clown did. He turned it into a new nightmare for them. Okay, so directed by, and I know I have said this wrong before, but I'm gonna try to pronounce it right. Okay, so Damien Leone, if that's how you say it right. Because I've heard other people saying it like that, so I'm like, is that how you say it? I think. Written by him as well. And of course, the cast: David Howard Thornton, Lauren Lavera, Elliot Fullman, and Samantha Scafidi. I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry. And then music by Paul Wiley. And so it was released in theaters on October 11th, 2024. But I know there might be other movies that have came out maybe that particular day in different years. But another movie that I know that had that was released in theaters that day is The Ghost in the Darkness, which was released October 11th, 1996. So, yeah, that I do know. And that's one movie I grew up watching. And so I just want to say this real quick before reviewing the movie that um, now Thanksgiving is coming soon and Christmas is a month away. So what I'm thinking of doing is do videos like making a list. So before I do these videos of TV shows and movies that I grew up watching, I'm gonna have to write down a list. So I'm gonna have to write down maybe not every single one or try to remember as much of TV shows that I grew up watching because there are a lot that I grew up watching. And as for movies, I think I grew up with a lot of movies, but at the same time, maybe not a whole lot because there are still movies that I haven't seen, and so there were just other movies I didn't see until I was a teenager or maybe when I was much older, in my 20s. So yeah, I think I'll do that. Yeah, I think with Thanksgiving approaching next week, that's something I will do. And also maybe to do one on uh Christmas commercials because that's something I would want to talk about. But anyway, we're gonna get right into the movie review. So, so yeah, now the director, I would say, after watching it, he did a good job directing it, but I can tell that the direction he took on this movie is like how far they can go. But honestly, and I just want to say this, but as I mentioned that in the opening scene where Arthur Clown kills a child, that okay, honestly, that made me angry, and that also made me sad, and that just crossed the line for me. And so uh, like I said, I just hate that because I know there's things that are happening even in real life, but that's something that does happen too. And so even when I hear about these um, real stories about how, children are, when they get killed or when they're, no matter what the situation is, and no matter like who the person is, whether it's a stranger or someone, like even someone in the family, and they get killed by someone so horrible, it makes me angry at the person who took that life, the child's life, but of course it makes me so, so sad when I hear about that. So yeah, it just makes me emotional. So of course to see this, like, even though they didn't show it, but still, like I said, that just crossed the line for me, so I was angry of that. But then of course there are other scenes of Terrifier 3 that that really made me feel, honestly, just like Terrifier 2, I think this one made me feel a little bit more sick to my stomach, and I also felt sick in my throat because I felt like I was feeling this icky lump like right here, and I'm like, so I was just like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I don't want to get into those brutal scenes of Terrifier 3 because then I'm just gonna feel all ugh, again, so no. So, oh, and speaking of which, I have a Coca-Cola can, and it's a holiday can because you can see Santa, he's holding the bottle, so he's like, shh. And speaking of which, Terrifier 3 is a Christmas movie, I think. Yeah, I just gotta say, oh my gosh, I don't want to get choked up again. Okay, so what happened was, of course, I'm not gonna explain of those scenes because, okay, like I said, there are those particular scenes that were graphic and just so brutal. Like, I remember probably just seeing it a little bit, and I got so scared that I just turned my head the other way, and I'm like this. My arms are shaky, and I can hear what's happening, so even hearing it doesn't help because as I'm hearing it, I'm like, oh, and I could just already imagine what's happening because I can hear it. So, so yeah. But again, uh, okay. But I just gotta say, even though the director did a good job, and again, David Howard Thornton did an amazing job as Art the Clown, like, so. Okay, he's brutal. He's horrifying, terrifying, pun intended, and I gotta say, because at first, when I saw the first one, I just assumed that he was a killer clown. But as in two, I'm like, okay, maybe it's more than that. I don't think he's just a killer clown. And in Terrifier 3, I can somehow see, like, okay, this is not just a killer clown. Like, I think he's more than that. He's this, supernatural entity that's demonic and that's so evil that even though he looks like a clown, but like I think he just somehow likes the the physical form of a clown because it's just you know I think I don't know. I feel like I want to know Art's origins, but I feel like we're kind of getting there a little bit. And so I just feel like, okay, so how did Art the clown came to be? Like, I do believe it was something supernatural, but as to how and how did it happen or how long ago it was, and that's something I'm very curious about. But yeah, so yeah, in this one I can see like, okay, this is not your like typical killer clown type of movies. Like, no, he's more than a killer clown. He's this supernatural thing, entity, or what I think is that he's probably some sort of demon that were he like I said, he takes form of a clown because I'm sorry. That he takes form of a clown because clowns don't even like they look human but they're not human, and there's just something very eerie, unnatural about them. And that's how I see Art. Like, okay, I don't just see him as a killer clown because I thought that at first that he was, but I think he's more than that, and I think uh, he's this demon that looks like a clown. So that's just how I see it. But yeah, I just gotta say that okay, I would say the story is scary. It's graphic, it's brutal, but of course I also like that we get to see Sienna again and Jonathan. So yeah, I love her character though, and so I can see, of course, what she was like going through, and like I think trying to recover and everything. But I think she wants to do it in her own way, you know, to get through that, to because you know everyone has their own way to recover of trauma that they had, depending what that is and what it is that they experience. So yeah, it's like, and the thing is, I feel bad of how, like, what she's like going through in Terrifier 3, and that um so yeah, even though she fought back, which I liked, but I gotta say, so with Victoria, scary. Like, forgive me, but she has a scary face, and so yeah, I don't know. To me, that is just too scary to look at, to be honest. And so, like I said, this is why I don't want to describe the scenes. But now, for those who have seen it, let me know what you thought of it. Although, yeah, those particular scenes that were graphic and were just, uh, ugh, like, brutal to see. Like, oh, I did not feel good. I felt sick in my throat. I felt like there was this um, icky lump in my throat. And yeah, I felt the pain in my stomach. And of course, I was also so terrified that, um, yeah, my arms were just shaky and my heart was just racing. And so, like I said, my mind was everywhere. And I'm just like, oh my god, it's like, I'm not calm, you know? And so, yeah, I remember at some point I had to pause the movie because I thought, okay, this is too much. And so I thought, I'm gonna get myself a Coca-Cola. So I did. So I remember just taking a few sips. So that helped a little bit, but then when those things come again, I was just like, you know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no. So yeah, I gotta say, now now after watching it the first time, okay, honestly, there are certain scenes of this movie that traumatized me. So, and like I said, just made me feel sick. Like, ugh. And so, I will not watch it again. No. Honestly, when it comes to things like that where they show a lot and they show things where it's like, oh yeah, let's show this, you know, how far we can go, but it's like, please, no, because not everyone wants to see it. Because you guess, okay, like there are two groups of people. There's one that doesn't mind seeing that and they're okay to see that because, you know, it doesn't bother them. Somehow it doesn't. But then there's another group of people like me where there are certain things we can see that don't bother us, but if it's too much and if it's showing a whole lot of, oh yeah, this is going on and this is how, you know, and everything, then it's like, no, thank you, no. Because they'll do something to our minds mentally, and it'll be too, not only too much to see, but it'll be traumatizing. It'll be just like, okay, no, this is crossing the line here. I don't want to see anything like that. So honestly, I feel like Terrifier 3 just took things too far, and I did not like that. I'm sorry. Now, for those who did like it, I mean, that's fine if you do. That's okay, you know? But this movie isn't for everyone, so this just is not my cup of tea. Or my cup of coffee, for that matter. But And I just want to say one thing before I go, and that is now in Terrifier 2, and I don't know if this has anything to do with Art the Clown himself or what, but in Terrifier 2 his eyes were blue. But in this one it looks like his eyes are white. Like, of course, you see where his pupils are black, but the eye color is white. And of course, that makes him, I would say, more scary looking with white colored eyes. So I'm just wondering, why is that? Because that's something I did notice when I was watching it. So I'm just curious about that. So anyway, now that's my review. That I would say there's other scenes that I like that are not so brutal, that and the story itself of Sienna and everything. So when it comes to not the graphic parts, those are the other parts that I like that were good. So that's good. But the graphic brutal parts, no, too much to see, to handle, for my mind to take in, not just mentally, but also emotionally and spiritually. Like, oh, no. Mm-mm. So I gotta say, I don't like to see that. I want that to be censored, to be honest. And yeah, I gotta say that everyone, the cast, did a great job with their performances. And so the music was good, and of course even the song choices in the movie were good as well. But I gotta say this, that for the director, I'll give him credit that he did a good job to really not only terrify the audience, but to really make them squirm, to really make them feel like their insides are twisting inside, and to make them feel like sick in their stomach and in their throat, because that's how I felt the whole time, especially those scenes in particular, and even towards the ending, which I don't even want to explain the ending, but even before, when it was the ending, but yeah, like I said, anyway, I'm sorry, I'm just bleh. So anyway, I hope you guys, okay, so to rate it, oh my gosh, how am I gonna rate it? I would say 3 stars, and, well, for the scare factor of the movie, and because I don't care for the very graphic, gory, very brutal scenes, I don't know, I think I would give it a, like, 50%. And, let's see, I would say I would, give it a B, and I would give it, I don't know, I would say 7.9 out of 10. So yeah, so that's my review and rating on Terrifier 3. So I hope you guys enjoyed this movie review, and if you have seen it, comment down below what you thought of it. And again, for those who like it or love it, that's fine if you do, because there are those who love movies like this that are very dark and very brutal, and if that's your cup of tea, then that's okay. I don't judge. But this was certainly not my cup of tea, so therefore it's not something I like to see, especially when it shows a whole lot and it's so much and it's too much to see, and it's traumatizing, and it's something I can't handle, like I said, not just mentally but also emotionally and spiritually, so no. So yeah, after watching it, I know I'll not watch it again. And in fact, I know there's gonna be a fourth one, so I am scared. I feel like I feel like I probably shouldn't even think or dare to watch 4 because it just might go too far, and I don't want that. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this movie review. So comment down below what you think of Terrifier 2 and no, I'm sorry, Terrifier 3. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. So for more movie content, reaction streams, and the paranormal, subscribe and click on the bell so you'll be notified when I upload. That's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.